just like to also thank our partners. So, to those of you that have helped yourselves to some coffee and some tea, that is courtesy of Duana's Kitchen. They also have given us some lovely water bottles as well as some boxes with some goodies. Please do feel free to take one if you haven't already at the entrance. We also have our first official sponsor with us, Some Wealth. If you can just do a bit of a wave so people can see where you are. All right, so those are our first sponsors, Some Wealth. We have Sanele and Tandekile. A very warm welcome to you. Thank you for believing in what we're trying to do at the Economites. They helped power our new website. That's theeconomites.com, to those of you that do not know. We also have Tony Link Consulting. I'm not sure if they are here right now, but they are also one of the partners for this evening. So without any further ado, I think we should get started with the program. And I'd also like to just welcome some of our contributors who actually do our articles. I see some of you are among the number. Thank you for joining us. But our guest speaker, Mr. Hamilton Ratshefola of IBM South Africa, he is IBM's General Country Manager, and his main focus is the growth of sales and the growth of business. And before assuming his lead role at IBM, Mr. Ratshefola was co-founder and CEO of Cornerstone Technology Holdings. In 1999, he was the top 20 ICT most influential in South Africa. In 2000, he was the most influential ICT South African. In 2006, he was the IT Personality Runner-Up of the Year. In 2007, he went for gold, and he took IT Personality of the Year. And he is a graduate from the Northwest University. He also did a stint at Cornell University in New York in the United States of America. And Mr. Hamilton is married and blessed with 5 children. So I think that profile does somewhat justice to our guest speaker. And I think I would like to hand it over to you, Mr. Hamilton. Please do join us.
Where I come from. I come from my background. I was a young guy from Northwest. I was born in Lichtenberg, grew up in Mafeking, became Botswana. I then schooled there, finished my matric there in Kibalipila High School. Then I went to work in the mines for a year and a half as an underground worker, but hired by Anglo-American. So I did their undergraduate training. I was going to be a mining engineer or metallurgist or mine surveyor. So I worked in those 3 areas for a year and a half. And then I was going to come to Wits to be able to do the mining stuff. But they got us here to Fox Street in 86. You guys were not born, most of you. So, and I arrive, I see marble, glitz, and I met some CAs and some BCom guys who were doing BCom, and I asked them, what do you do? They told me that they decide on my salary, cost of staff. As a mine worker, I decided I'm ditching this engineering stuff. I want to do commerce. I went to my boss, Frakilov. I said, can I join the commerce stream? He says, we don't do commerce here. Look around. It's all mining. It's geology. It's metallurgy. It's mining engineering. It's mine survey. That's the program you have. If you don't want to join this program, you quit. So quit. I went, it was in December, I went to Unibo. I said, can I join a BCom program? They say your results, they were good. They admitted on the spot. They said, pay a fee here. I paid it. January, I went back to work, served 1 month notice. February, I was back in campus, a student, and I managed to raise enough money in the mine to pay for myself for 2 years. And so I did my BCom degree, got sponsorship and bursaries 2 years later, completed it, and then on my final year, I decided to try my accounting profession as a bookkeeper in a local bank. That's when I said I had 3 majors: accounting, computer science, and business leadership or management. Then I knew accounting I will never do in my life. So thank you very much. When I finished university in '89, I was given a job by Shell, by Unilever, by IBM, blue chip companies, because of my majors, and so I chose IBM. So at IBM, I became a system engineer. I said, oh my goodness, what I actually left engineering, I'm back. So I became a system engineer, but the real power here is that I really excelled in engineering. I had a good mentor. He walked on water, a black guy who was phenomenal. And he was actually the major guy at JSE and EDCON. He was the lead advisor. And it was, for me as a young black guy, to see a younger or actually a slightly older black guy dominating the profession, white people coming to his office begging for answers. At the age of, I think I was 23, it was a great model for me, because then I realized that this guy walks on water. White people call him sir. In an apartheid world, okay? That is 1990. And he's called sir. And his office called the buck stops here. And I sit with him in the office as a junior engineer, as a senior engineer, and he cracks problems for these white folks. They really honor him, the grounds he walks on. And I say, man, that's what I have to be. So I studied day and night. I actually left office at 11 at night. I got in at 7. Weekends I did DRP testing, all kinds of technology stuff with him. And within a year, we joined the 60 graduates. The graduates I joined within a year, they were there, I was here. By 3 years later, I was a senior by far because of competence. And once you become competent, everybody is vying for you. My salary was like 4,000, was 12,000 3 years because I'm competent. So when you're competent, people compete for your skill. They say, hey, my division. Don't worry, it's going to give you 8,000, I'll give you 10. Can you join my division? Can you do? Because what happens at the early age when you become competent, and I was helped. God helped me with my mentor. So because he became a good role model for me. So that was the first step. I then decided to try my game in sales. They say, Hamilton, you make a lot of money for these salespeople. You write proposals for them. You prepare things for them. They are wealthier because of you. Why don't you go do the wealth yourself? Good seed. 94, 93, I joined sales. Sales is an amazing career. Joined sales, didn't make my quota. Yeah, joined sales, cracked the quota, made about 1.4 million rands cash as a 20-year-old. I sell a house here in Forties, about Mahaliser, a block here, 2 blocks from here, for 600,000 rands in 1994. Bought a house for my mother, 400,000 for my black, what do you call? Black tax done. Okay. So get that done for my mother, and I was up by 95. I was another contracts, make more money. By the time I turned 30, I really have set myself for a great future. I then got into IBM management in 1997, and my boss says to me, I want to expand your knowledge. I'm going to send you to Europe and US for the whole year 97. So I work in UK, I worked for 3 months, worked in Italy for 3 months, worked in Denmark for about 2 months, and then going to work in the US for 4 months. And when I came back, he says, what in those countries, all he did, he says, I want to nominate 8 managers in a year that you are going to spend 6 weeks with each. And these are top-class people. I want you to go everywhere with them except them. Just follow them and live with them in their meetings. And they take me places. They show me things. Island management staff, island countries, island government, defense systems, island postal, hybrid posts, postal solutions, island administration solutions in Denmark, revenue solutions in UK, in the Majesty. And I work in the RS in the US, which when I came back, I connected some in 1998 in March called Trevor actually not Minister Godem. What is his first name? Pravin Godem. Pravin, I met Pravin. And when I met Pravin, I just came from the IRS in 1998. And I said to him, by the way, I can get you to the IRS, I can get you the UK tax. He says, fine. We took a trip in 1998, IRS to the UK tax, to the German tax, came back, and that was the beginning of SARS transformation. At that point in time, the South African government was having only 70 billion rands. And this guy, which I thought was not good and smart, he was smart. So I exposed him to the IRS, to those guys. He came back, he built a SARS transformation strategy. He moved SARS from 60 billion to 800 billion when he left. Okay. So when he's criticized today, and the reason he was so annoyed with the guy who was doing this campaign was he built the system. He actually, for me, when I talk about the success of South Africa, the success of South Africa was by fluke. Okay? The National Party was broke. But Pravin Godem fought on gold. He built the gold. Mr. Trevor Manuel took the credit, and Mr. Mbeki took the credit. Great transformation of South Africa from 60 billion of apartheid money to 800 billion. Today, the tax system collects 1.5 billion, 1.5 trillion on its capacity. But if it had a good person, it would be at 2.1 trillion today. So that's the Muyani cost and the Zuma cost, with due respect. Okay. And one of the reasons that difference in South Africa from other countries is SARS. No country in Africa collect tax revenue this way. The other countries depend on oil, Nigeria on oil, Angola on oil, everybody on resources. South Africa depends to collect tax without dependence on resources. Okay. Now, we have the most tax efficient system in this country. And if you know why the rand is strengthening, they can give all kinds of reasons. But one of the reasons for the strengthening is that SARS collected 138 billion more than they said they'll connect, and government spent 16 billion less. Okay. So if you combine those two, plus we're exporting for the first time in many years, we're exporting as a country more than we import consistently for the past, actually 10 months, in November, when doing Black Fridays, where we import fridges and go do them lots more stuff and more consumerism then. But for now, South Africa is exporting more than it imports. And if you know economics, balance of payment has never been so good. So there's no better against stronger and stronger. It's 1398 last time I checked this evening. And my view is that the currency is looking good. Really, President Ramaphosa, you are doing a decent job, but of course you don't get all the credit. You have too many crowds in your party, so that's an issue. So, but if those things pass, this country can go places. Now, that because that's what I'm just talking about where SARS is and where we are, and it's an incident that I was working in Europe and working in the US that I had Minister Pravin Godem, and I showed him what can be done, and he never stopped. He went even bigger. So, I, by the way, advisory committee with the new commissioner on how the SaaS business and business model, and we want to make sure, because people talk about the problems, I know the power of the fiscus. If the fiscus works well, we can take people out of poverty. We can build the roads of this country and do positive stuff without criticism, just being a constructive citizen. Now, so that's my career. 99, I went to IBM, New York, told that young boy, you're going to run this company, so we're training you. So I went there, they trained me so much, I came to so much knowledge, and they said, you're going to wait a little bit. I said, I don't want to wait. I got an offer from a company called CCH. I joined CCH. I became a director, JSE listed. I now am director of 6 more companies underneath me, get appointed, get to do director's work for the first time, due diligence, director's for the fiduciary duty. I'm reading new things I've never read. I was a technical guy who ran a technical business. Now I'm a board member. I'm learning governance. I'm learning a lot more things. And CCH get taken over, hostile takeover. I walk out with my partner. We set up Cornerstone. A year later, and we start Cornerstone. We started a company, myself and him in his garage. We worked there for 3 months. In that 3 months, we raised 10 million rands. We make 3 million profits. We hire 22 people, January 2021. We build a business. That year, we make 150 million rands. As a business, we made about 50 million profit. I opened a branch in Mozambique, Cornerstone, Mozambique. I opened a branch in Namibia, opened a branch in Cape Town. We ran the business, we built it. 200 million company the following year. Open hardware company, software company, system integration. 205, build Cornerstone mobile solution, 206. 206 started, I had 15 million free cash. I started Cornerstone Technology Investments. I bought about DVT, ACI, Indigo Cube, about 5 companies. I put in the investment company. I had a choice. 2006-8, I could have bought a Ferrari. I could have bought a big house. But I chose businesses. So I still drive a modest car, no Ferrari, no big house, focus on investing. So come 2012, leave the company. I sell it to my partner. He runs it, sell it to EOH. EOH gets into trouble, bail out of EOH. 2012, I left the company. 2013, IBM, and you left us just 12, 13 years ago, you left us just when you're about to become an exec. Can you come back and run this thing? So I'm at home. I'm figuring what to do. I said, let me take the task. So I took the task to join IBM. IBM is a phenomenal company. Last week, we announced the 2 nanotechnology chip, the chip source that own for 5 days. It will reduce the current power usage of computers by 70-90%. So small, it will bring the next growth of computers. So more powerful iPhone, more powerful stuff. It's an innovation of IBM. They always break the mold. They are technology innovators to the minimum. They are actually today on PCs, they invent the chips and they sell that technology to Intel, to Samsung to build devices. Okay. So, but they don't do today. IBM impact on your life. You go to the shop, you've got this barcode. That barcode is invention of IBM. At the back of your card, you've got a Mac stripe. It's invention of IBM. The hard disk you use on every phone, every device is the invention of IBM. So these guys invent. The IBM research, I've got a research lab here at Verts with about 30 researchers, PhD guys, whose job is research, inventing stuff. So that's a company. So I run that company here in South Africa, about 1,500 people, and 14 countries, which we do in Southern Africa. And our job, when you go to bank and you make a transaction, that's IBM. When you go to government and you do DHA, Home Affairs, and you register, we used to take 6 weeks to produce an ID, use IBM WebSphere. We take 3 days to give you an ID passport to chop this thing of taking the information, moving into a center and process. We put IBM WebSphere in the middle. From the center to the center, it's 30 minutes or 30 seconds delivery, and we can confirm your ID within 24 days, 24 hours, it's done. Okay. So IBM government, IBM banking, IBM transportation. If you put your booking, it's IBM around the world. If we do World Cup in South Africa, we're the one who told you which passenger number seat F or 1F or 65F. That's our technology. The commerce of airlines, the commerce of business, the commerce of retail. So that's what we do as a company. So my essence of telling what is important in business is very simple. Know-how, knowledge counts a lot. Technical know-how of you, competent in what you do, counts a lot. So expertise and competence is important. And one of the things where our country fails is that we appoint people to roles without competence. So that's why we have disasters in local government, disasters where government touches. And so you have public sector that's efficient, you've got private sector that's very bad. Competence is a problem. So I learned that from my mentor, who was the first guy that I honor, who showed me that competence does. Competence, even if they say you can't get there, if they've got no one to do it, they have to come to you, the one they don't like, who's black. And those days. And they say, you're going to help us. They did. So for me, it taught me that if you're competent, then yes. If you're very, very competent, no one can get you. If you are a biblical guy, scripture in, I think, Proverbs 22 says, show me a skilled man. I'll show you someone who will never work for obscure people, but will be in places, higher places, work for higher places. And what this saying says, a man who's skilled, his skill will take him to greater heights. Okay. And that's what I've learned. And my skill, I could work for IBM. I could work for anybody. Constantly, I had AWS, all the companies have said, can you work for us? I say, sorry, I finish at IBM next year. 20, I'll be 7 years in the job. 6 years this year, 7 years next year. I retire, and I am going to take hold of my cornerstone technology investment business. The company I invested in, DVT, I invested with 40 people in 1997. In 2007, it's today employing 1,400 people. Has about, of that, of them in London or in the UK, and now 50 of them in the US. So we this company expanding in the US. And so the power of investing, I didn't buy a Ferrari. I bought a company. Million rents today, it's $1 billion rents. The power investing when you're young, buy cars. We spend too much time in vehicles rather than spend money in investments that make sense. So I only know that I used to spend on German vehicles, so I've reduced my expenditure. So that's what I can say. Okay. So nutshell, competence, technical competence will take you anywhere. And I took the competence IBM gave me to start my own business. I wealth from the technical from IBM. I sold my businesses, and I sold them from the strength of what IBM taught me. I went back to IBM. Now I'm not building system companies. I'm building blockchain companies, AI companies, the new economy companies. That's what my 5 years or 7 years at IBM has taught me, is new skill set. So I was kind of old when I sold my business, old technologies, old economy. I went back to IBM. They taught me the new way. I'm now going to start new businesses next year that are to do with blockchain, artificial intelligence, and that are to do with data science. This is the new economy. That's where the money is. Okay, so in a nutshell, know-how, second skill, second attributes, excellence. The scripture that says, whatever you do, do this you do for the Lord. You're not doing it for people, for your boss. You work for the Father. And for him, you do your best. If you do, the best will come for you. Okay, so you're frustrated in companies. Managers will not look at you. They can overlook you. But if you're competent, your skill will soon talk. You see, my bosses will ignore me. But the client will write a letter, not to my manager, to the CEO of the company, and say there's a young star called Hamilton. He is exceptional. His work has helped us. In with us. We're trying. And the following weekend I'm helping. So job. Weekends I work. I help clients. Move clients. This is about client focus. If you focus on clients and you deliver, people who sit in the office, drink coffee, talk about how the company is bad. Not my portion. My portion is, how do I help a client today move forward? How can I add value? I'm client-centric. CEO, I spend more time with clients than with the office. They can stay with the politics. I'll stay with the clients. I'll add value. We'll move the economy forward. We'll make clients win. Customer-centric leadership. That's what's required. Okay. So that's who I am. I love clients. I love business. I was born in business. I do that with a lot of fun. I promote black talent. IBM, I arrived there, got them to be level 1, look after the black people, promote them. But one problem about black talent, impatient. They lose opportunities. They go for money. They don't go for knowledge. Know the systems. Have complete knowledge. Because when you know the system, complete knowledge, you can start your own business. Oh, no, he's paying more better. Package, go. I stayed. I got assignments to Europe. I stayed. I got to be trained in Brazil. I travel the world. They developed me. And I'm grateful because I waited and the time came. Don't be patient. Okay. On that note, I set the scene for you. You can ask me any question. I'm happy to take questions from you guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for coming. You guys all look fantastic. And this room is filled with all sorts of people. So the structure is that me and Hamilton here are going to have a mini conversation. And after that, we are going to open it up for everyone so that you can also engage with Mr. Ratshefola. You can ask him any question, anything that you'd like to add. We're going to go via rounds of 3, so prepare your questions. And yeah, and also before you start the question, also identify yourself. So we've got students, we've got business leaders, we've got entrepreneurs, we've even got academics. So identify yourself and then fire away with your question, okay? So, Mr. Ratshefola, I want to start this conversation with a little bit about how you started your presentation, and that is your life story. Now, when I look at your life story, I can definitely describe it as a one of excellence. Excellence, that concept. What does that word excellence mean to you?
Well, excellence for me means a number of things. One is that you not only go an extra mile, but you have flawless execution. Because one of the challenges about, if I give you a classic example of South Africa, white papers, green papers, all the papers of what to do. Yeah. And what fails is at execution level. Poor execution, because the people who are doing the jobs don't know how to execute or execute poorly. So excellence is the ability to conceptualize something and execute it and deliver results and outcomes required. Yeah. Okay. So, and for me, it just means that you take personal responsibility of your time, of your skill set, and your ability to get things done. So people who excel in what they do is that they meet expectations and exceed expectations. Okay. And so when you're given a task, you do it, and if possible, you do the possible options and scenarios. So for example, when I was an engineer for my sales manager, he will ask me a question and say, the client wants A. When I arrive in delivering the solution, I realize that A is not the only option. There's B, there's C, there's D, there's even E and F. So what I do is that I then spend most of my evenings, work is finished. Okay? I come from work, I go home, and I spend my evenings doing the other options. So as in case tomorrow, he meets a client who says, I don't like it this way. He says, here's an answer. So he doesn't have to go and prepare again. So, and that's why the people I served used to say, we don't want anybody else. And I'm in a bunch of white people, but they say, want that black guy because he's very, very efficient. Yeah. And he thinks through things. Yeah. And that's what I want today. People who are proactive in thinking. People who foresee possibilities. And they address them before they are asked. Yeah. That's excellence. I'm just giving an example of excellence in a daily work exercise.
Fantastic, sir. I would like to go a little bit deeper into that because it is documented that you were the eldest and you had a single mom. A single mom actually raised you. Yeah. And if you go deeper, for those who actually researched Mr. Hamilton Ratshefola, you'd find out that he has a sister who at one stage was the CEO of FNB Forex, yeah. Who now currently heads the credit department. He had their compliance department. Compliance department, okay. Yes. So from a situation like that in the Northwest, from growing up under that situation to now heading big organizations, and not only you, but your siblings, what did your mother do right?
Well, I think she did two things. When we grew up, she made, she was the seventh in the family. So she had they were a family of 8. Yeah. She chose in her siblings the ones we should always go to holidays to. Yeah. So we didn't visit the 7 of the others. There were 2 that were segmented. This is, these people are the people I want you, the boys, to spend time with. Now, the problem with those people, we didn't enjoy them because those people, when you arrive, everybody has a task. There's no holiday. Yeah. One is a farmer. Yeah. When you arrive, you go to the farm. So the whole holiday, you are on tractors, you are chasing cows, you are working with both, it's work. No one sleeps. And the people I want to visit are people where you arrive and you actually have fun. We sit as kids, we go and play football, we do this, we have fun. So she made sure that we go to the families that gives us tasks. So I work every holidays. So I learned the farming business. I learned that if you want to run a farm, you need capital. And the capital, I did the books for my uncle in the farm. So I will come in on the holidays. Hamilton is here. I want you to do the forecast for what I need for my new crop. So it's mealies and it's some sunflower. We're going to need about 60,000 rands. And we plan it for the tractors, for diesel, for tractors, for workers. We're going to do the weeds for everybody. So we learned from there. No, the other one was running a restaurant. So when you go there, it's work, how to run a business. So I learned business from these two uncles of mine. They taught me business because I worked those business on my holidays. So, so what it means is that use your children's time responsibly. At an early age. When they start turning 12, stop letting them be free. Get them to work. Get them to work. Even if it's just observing, get them to the office to see people at work. Because it crafts a mentality of how work looks like. And they learn to do stuff. So that's how we got to work early. And that's why my other brother runs his own business. He runs a banking business. He does support software from France for the banks, for RMB, Standard Bank. He has about 11, 12 people that works for him. He spent half of his life in Hong Kong and in the UK, in London, in financial services. Wow. So he came back 2 years ago, set up his company, and he already has about 12 employees going forward. So everybody wants to do himself something. But it's because we come from a framework of you've got to help yourself.
Fantastic.
Okay.
No, thank you so much. I'd like us to switch gears a bit. We've dealt a little bit with your life story, but I'd like us to chat a little bit more about IBM and the technological environment that we find ourselves in. We're going to go a little bit in on the fourth industrial revolution as well. So IBM, you mentioned it when you were giving your presentation that there was a 700 million rand investment into the research center. There's about 12 of them across the world. There's one in Nairobi, Kenya. We've got some few Kenyan nationals in this room as well. So how far are you with the deployment of that capital? Because it was a 10-year project, and now we're on the 6th year. How far are you? And
we're number 215 to now. We get into year number, I'm at year number 6, year number 7. Year number 6, we have 30, we've hired 30 researchers. We've been wrapping up 10, 15, 20. Now we have 30 researchers. They research in really quantum physics, quantum computing. We do stuff that many people, quantum computing is the next computing that will be coming in the next 5, 10 years. With quantum computer, I crack a password of every computer within 30 seconds. That's how all the options in the world get calculated in 30 seconds.
And this is here in
Johannesburg.
Is it available for the public?
It's available for partnership, corporate partnership, not public.
Not public.
I don't want to get into trouble of all money stolen in banks by a syndicate using a quantum computer. Thank you very much.
No, I understand. And the reason why I brought that up is because everybody knows who followed that investment was that it was a partnership between IBM, Wits University, and government.
Yes.
Now, that combination of government and private sector and also academia is a very difficult thing to have.
Yeah.
How did you guys get that right?
Well, we make sure government just do the supervision. Wits does the technology and academic influence.
Yes.
We do the technology and the production of what needs to be done. and we leave DTI to come and supervise that box are ticked, everything is ticked, that's become much more easier.
Okay, no, I totally understand. For those who are willing to who are in the private sector, who are willing to do business with the government, you onboard them on a supervisory role and everything will go okay. The fourth industrial revolution.
Yeah.
Buzzword. Everybody's talking about it. Everybody's tweeting about it. You, sir, are unique because not only have you seen it in a corporate environment, but also in an entrepreneurial environment. How would you define the fourth industrial revolution in a South African context?
So let me define the fourth industrial revolution in a simple context.
Sure.
In the global context.
Sure.
What fourth industrial revolution has done is just simple. It has taken every industry and transformed it. Now, and I'll give you how. You take simple, I'm talking to Transnet about rail industry on Transnet, that we need to introduce AI, robotics, to be able to run 24 hours, to be able to do things. Let me just give you a simplicity.
Okay.
If I introduce AI to government, I start saying to Home Affairs, you have 8 processes that you serve the community with. 4 of those processes can be automated. The others might not be fully automated. So can I automate the 4 and make sure these 4 that I automate, and how do I mean automation? Where I ran the government from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock. I changed that model. I bring robotics that will take care of the calls from you. You take the calls, we put bots and robotics in the front end. It will answer your call. We load all this Home Affairs process in this robot. It will tell you exactly, if you need an ID, this is what you need to do, and and it will answer you. If you want to process an ID, it says, press here, I'll process the ID. It will process the ID, okay? Without people. And tomorrow when you check, it will give you a confirmation that your ID is processed without anybody intervening. It's a process that's now become automated. And it's available to you 24/7. You don't need past people anymore to get in between you and what you want.
Yeah.
So we have processes in Home Affairs, for example, we can do that with. And they will be automated. You'll get 24/7 government available to you when you need it. Wow. You press click, you get the license. License you apply to renew. If anyone who have a Discovery Bank card.
Discovery Bank card, anyone?
Okay.
No, one at the back here.
So, if you've been to Discovery Bank and you see how you enroll yourself, you take your phone, you put your face, it take your face recognition, you take your finger, put your finger, recognize everything. When you finish, submit, everything gets given to you. There's no Discovery branch. All is that, everything Discovery does, they do an iPhone. It takes you an iPhone to put your ID, take your face, take your photo, scan a document, send it to them, done. Why can't Home Affairs do that? Why do you have to queue? Okay? So if we move to fourth industrial revolution, we then change the tech in your hand into a service provider. Okay? So you don't have to go anywhere. On your phone, everything is done. On your iPad, on your laptop, everything is done there. And you can get some citizens served. For the citizens who don't have tech, they can go to the branch. So that's just this on government, this on banking, so anybody who still runs 8-hour business is going to be out of business.
Wow.
Because the client experience business when you arrive at home, I want this shirt.
Yeah.
I like it. Tomorrow I have an event over the weekend. I don't have time to go to shopping. I'm going to go to this shirt and I'm going to look at it. I've got this suit I require, and you can order it and it will be delivered to you within 24 hours. That's where the world is going. Those who still like driving themselves to events, good luck. Okay. Because digital computing is moving things and the pace is going. Let me tell you something about, I attended a review meeting for one of my businesses on on Friday. And they said to me, I said, where's the CEO? The CEO says, I'm in Switzerland. What are you doing in Switzerland? He says, I've been working from Switzerland for the past 6 months.
Wow.
I said, but this is South African business. He says, yeah. I have decided to take the business global. I've hired people from Lesotho, from Kenya, from Rwanda. When you left last year, the company was a South African company. Now it has employees from 14 countries. You develop from home. It's a development company. We do software development and we do software testing. Yeah. We take a contract in the UK, we deliver from South Africa. We take a contract in the Netherlands, we deliver from South Africa. Take a contract in Germany, we're hiring 50 people, developers a month. Yeah. Last year, we moved from 1,200 people to 1,500 this year. This year, we're loading 30 developers a month. This is now global business and global demand, local resourcing. But some resourcing, we get it from Kenya, Rwanda, Lesotho, Swaziland. It doesn't matter anymore. So I'm telling you the opportunity that is created by the fourth industrial revolution. Yeah. Opportunities everywhere. So let me give you an example. There's going to be in this country more than 10,000 cloud jobs required, cloud management jobs, in the next 5 years. Standard Bank is going to cloud. Absa is going to cloud. Yeah. Everybody's going to cloud. Guess what? They need resources. Where are the resources? No resources. But we have unemployment. That's a matching of education to opportunities. We need cloud skills. We need AI skills. We need blockchain skills. We need data science skills, artificial intelligence. So for me, the job requirement in this country is huge in this sector for IR. And it's happening for is happening in transportation. It's happening for rail. It's happening for airlines. It's happening for industrial companies, chemical companies. It's happening for, there's no industry untouched by 4IR, so, including the church.
That's an interesting thought.
Well, after lockdown, some churches adopted 4IR technologies, communication. They put Teams, they put WebEx, they put platforms to talk to congregations. Yeah. And that changed the way people suddenly, they open the church now. Most people are saying, give me WebEx, give me Teams, Zoom. I can sit in my living room with my kids who can do this. I don't have to spend transport to go to church. So it's changing the way things work. And now the pastor of the church is worried that his connection is going to go and his offerings are going to go loose. So if you don't adopt, you lose. Yeah. If you don't adapt, you lose.
Yeah. No, I think my questions are answered. We're going to go to the floor. Dumazi is actually walking around with a mic.
Hi, my name is Teddy. I work for a mining company called ENT Minerals. I'm here with the CFO. I'm not really sure why you left mining, but it's besides the point. So I just want to discuss about 4IR for a bit. So we're building a technological lab, computer lab in Hendrina, one of the mining towns which we operate.
Okay.
So it's in a primary school. We're bringing things like smart boards, drones, tablets, all those kind of things, because we found there was a huge disparity when a kid gets to university. You know, they enroll, they get to a library, they don't know how to use a computer. So we're just now trying to bridge that gap. So in your career, because I find it quite interesting that you decided to stay here in Africa, you know, being well-traveled. What made you decide to stay here in Africa, and also what is the greatest challenge in your career?
What made you
good evening, Lucky from the Business Clinic. So we actually are currently busy with the 4IR Aquatech Accelerator Program, looking into solutions for the water, food, and energy nexus. So my question is, what is the strategy around how we can get accelerators or incubators like ourselves to engage with IBM to leverage the technology and the research capabilities that you basically have developed? I heard about that investment that you referred to, where government, academia, and the private sector are coming together. So we are looking into how can we enable our startups to access that know-how. Thank you.
Fantastic. And then we have one more question here by Nkate.
Good evening, all. My name is Nkate Kosono. I work for Grace Bible Church. My question to you is, I am a graduate. I have my certain skill set in real estate, and you want to bring that skill set to the religious industry, so to say. How do you influence leaders at the top, being the younger one in the boardroom? How did you navigate those dynamics as a young professional?
Okay, fantastic. Those are our three. So the first one was, what made you stay in Africa and what was your biggest challenge? The second one was how startups actually engage with bigger organizations like IBM. And then the third one is, how did you influence, especially when you were young, how did you influence the older leaders in the boardrooms and all the business context?
Okay. Thank you. Let me just get your first name. The first question was from
Teddy.
Teddy. Thank you, Teddy. What made me stay in Africa? I was always amazed that a coincidental meeting of a person can have a greater reach. So it is my discussions and my interaction with Prophet Gordon in 1998 when I came back from assignment that demonstrated that you can have impact. Because when I say it's an accidental discussion, we met in March, we met again in May. We start planning a trip to the US to see what people who do transformation in tax, because the South African government used to ask you how much you earn, and they say thank you. How much you earn? Thank you. When we arrive in New York, actually in Washington, in IRS, and Provin asked SARS, and the IRS people, how they see tax, they say, no, we do tax differently. We tell you how much you've earned. Says, hang on. In my country, we ask you how much you've earned. I says, no. We tell you how much you've earned. And how do you do that? Very simple. He says, you take everyone who employs anybody, they file with you. So you get to know how much everyone has earned. You get every bank that has a license given by Reserve Bank. The condition of the license is that every 3 months, you download me all the bank accounts you have, so I get to see them. You get everyone with insurance to tell the insurance company to give you all their insurance benefits. You tell anyone who has investment with investment company asset manager to produce the statement and give it them to me every year. When I have that picture, I then ask you to file. And I'm going to give you an RP12 to file. This is how much I think you've earned. You tell me whether I'm wrong or right or wrong. But I'm not going to tell you what you have in Investec, in that bank, because I know. You tell me how much you've earned. And you disclose your accounts. And you disclose only one. I know how much of a liar or truthful person you are when you omit a lot of information. And I say to you, we're auditing you. Why don't I get my refund back? So that's what we learned in that trip. And when it came back, we decided to build a system like that for South Africa. And that's why I say South Africa is the only country in Africa that has a system like this. And it works. And I've got bad news for all people who dodge tax. We just putting AI into the system to be able to do all the stuff before you start about you. You bought a Ferrari, you didn't file, thank you very much. So that is, when I saw the impact of that, I said, why should I be in the US when you can uplift my own country? And if I can tell you what we do for businesses in South Africa to put them in the forefront, that's what motivates me. Yes. When I see Africa excel, when I see us do better in certain areas, and there's a lot of work for us to do, okay, to improve the economy, to bring efficiencies, to run things better. I mean, if I had a way, I'll educate. There's a lady called Ruby, NUMSA spokesperson. Okay, she's my bugbear because she doesn't live in the real world. And why I say that is very simple. She went on strike at SAA and shut it down. She's going to go on strike on ESCOM. And she's going on strike because she says the management doesn't care, they give themselves more money, and she wants more for workers. I agree with that, okay? But in a COVID time, we in private sector have not given salary increase to our employees. In a COVID time, in big companies, some companies, we've asked employees to give back money. Can you take a reduction of your salary by 20%? But she goes and say, we want 15, we want 7%. I sit there and I say, there's no reality. I know that people are suffering. But here's a choice. Bring down an institution to shut down, no jobs, versus keeping an institution alive. Let me tell you what they did in Germany. In Germany, in 2008, this is what happened. Global financial crisis. Merkel stand up and say, I want to give a proposition. Managers, no bonuses. Workers, no retrenchments. Can we do the following? We will work half day. All the workers who can. Half day, half shift. In order to keep the company floating. We will decrease salaries for people because we're working half days, but we will not fire anybody. When the economy turn around, everybody's still employed, we'll ramp up, we'll get everybody back. That's what they did in 2007, 2008, to beat this. We need to start being reasonable of how to keep the institution surviving versus how to kill them and ask for more increases and shut the company. Yeah. In IBM, it's easy. If you want more increase, it's very simple. We take out 1,500, we take out 150, retrench, we'll give you the increase you want if there's no money. So you, the ones 1,350 remaining, you are happy. The other 150 people have lost their jobs. Why don't we work together to do the right thing? Maybe we don't want 15% increase. We only want 4%. Then we can survive. And I'm talking this because I see a lot of NUMSA particularly, they are very aggressive. We want this government. I say, of course, the government has been wasteful. But there's no reason for it to kill it because there's no money in the fiscals. Yeah. Anyway, a subject for another time. Let me answer that. So I'm staying here because I think we can add value. And I'm staying here because we need a lot more people who understand how things work to be helping, not criticizing, helping. Okay.
The second question was startups engaging with IBM.
Very simple. you can contact IBM Lab. They will help you with research material, stuff you want to do. We've just donated technology for making solar, doing solar panels, giving technology for measuring solar production on the panels, or that we've just donated a small BE company in South Africa to produce, to do themselves. So we're donating a lot of IP work with them to those. So I'll get you the research lab numbers. I'll get you the IBM Enterprise Development, which is sponsoring companies that are starting up in AI. You choose a field, you approach them, you say, I want to do this, they will support you. If you're in the right space, with the right functions, they will fund you. For some of your people, they'll give you the budget. We spend almost 30 million SMMEs every year to fund them, to get them up, to be able to go fully fledged.
Fantastic.
Okay. And we'll give you technology that you need to be able to make a difference. Okay.
Fantastic. And then the third one was, how did you influence the older leadership and management when you were in those boardrooms?
You know, exposure. I don't know how to say this. They need to see. They don't need to be told. You need to expose them by demonstrating the art of the possible. And so that's why the modern way of, even when you convince executives, we do what you call we show. The days of you telling, you need to show, you need to demonstrate, you need to take them to a place, sit with them, and show them how this is possible. Okay, so we actually have a new, we've got something called design thinking. We use design thinking, we use garage method. Garage method is when we do a mini production, or the real thing's going to look like. And we take you through step 8. This is how it looks like. This is where the clients touch the screen. We design a screen. You can touch it. This is how it's going to look like when it's done. And this is how it flows. I've got a center in Wits, a design thinking center, where I'm taking clients to demonstrate what I mean. Prototypes. I build prototypes for them. I show them. I pick the best example. I show them. People learn better when they see, and quicker when they see. Otherwise, the other thing for me, you need to develop skills of a great salesman. I'm a serial entrepreneur. I've started many companies. The way to do that is to sell your story. Learn to sell your story. And by the way, I started running a small fruit business when I was 15. I used to buy fruit, sell it at the stadium on Saturday. Okay. And really, on Saturday and Sundays, sell this fruit. And you learn when you're young, when you start doing a sales pitch. And I grew up, I'm a best sales pitcher. So, in the business. And you have to sell a story. I sell my story to my employee. I sell the story to everybody. Every day, you're selling a perspective, a point of view.
Yeah.
And the art of selling is the art of knowing how to sell your story. Okay. Salesmanship is the greatest skill you can ever have. People say, no, you're smooth. It's okay. I'm happy to be a smooth. When things were bad, they ask me if I can put a pitch. Okay. Because people who know how to put a pitch win audiences. And life is about selling. I sell a story to my kids. I sell a story to my wife. I sell a vision to my wife. She buys into the vision. Yeah. We stay the course.
No, fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. The second round of questions, I see. Ooh, wow. Okay, cool. Yes.
Okay.
Can you introduce yourself, please?
Okay, I'm Lungelo. You guys already said I work at National Treasury. I have a question for Hamilton. Two questions actually. I just want to, maybe understand your take, Hamilton, on government reception of AI.
Okay.
You mentioned something about Home Affairs and government printing works, that prints IDs and security stuff. So I just want to, know how our government is skeptical in terms of receiving these AI things, because obviously we need to give people more jobs and, for more votes and stuff like that. So, I just want to understand what's your take on their reception currently, and what can they do maybe perhaps to adapt so that you are not left behind, in that. And then maybe my second question is, okay, Pef, my second question is an outlier, but, you were talking about church and events and stuff like that. So I just want to understand from a customer experience perspective, because one of the reasons people attend events is, it's not the same like when you are watching an event on TV. So perhaps how can we then maybe apply AI also in that regard, so that even though you're watching TV, maybe somehow the music and the speakers does give you that similar customer experience or whatever the case may be.
Fantastic question. Thank you so much. Before we go to Sharon, can I just ask, because we have many questions, can we...
Hi, my name is Sharon Mziza. I am an attorney and I specialize in maritime and shipping law. So my particular interest is in autonomous and unmanned vessels. And I know that IBM is currently involved in the Mayflower autonomous ship project that's happening in England. My question to you is, do you think South Africa will be ready for such a technological development? And if so, how long do you think it'll take South Africa to get to that point? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Nomade. Yes. I'm a teacher. I specialize in teaching people how to read and count. I'm also for the idea that 12-year-olds need to start bringing in money from that age as well. But my question is, I'm not against technology. It's a really great thing to have. I'm also not against bringing technology to high schools, like your AI and your robots and all of that stuff. But however, in South Africa, especially in the townships, we struggle with illiteracy. It's all good and well to bring these things in to these schools, but it ends there. You're bringing them a robot, but they don't know how to read the instructions on how to use it. They don't know how to explain themselves when it comes to, it, and all of that. So my question basically is, if starting from a grade R level, what would be the skill sets, or what do you think that children need from that young age for them to be able to use technology, for them to have a sales, a business mind from that age, so that by the time they reach grade 7, they're not learning about the life cycle of a butterfly. There's more to it than that. So what would be your ideal curriculum for a child?
Okay, cool.
Hi, my name is Andy Sandrovo. I am a freelance broadcast journalist. I recently ran a course for young storytellers across the continent, and we had over 10,000 young people sign up. And I think the main thing that I picked up was the technology divide, where you have all these people who are keen to learn, but the main issue is access, where people do not have data to sit and listen to what you're teaching them, but also they struggle to submit the stories that we want them to tell. So I think my question is, how do we use 4IR to bridge the existing socioeconomic gaps?
Okay, thank you. Okay, cool. So that's the round. So let's run.
Hi everyone. My name is Moses Nsukchauke. I'm an internet entrepreneur and network engineer. Talking about fourth generation technology being accessed on the palm of your hand, what strategies or catalyst strategies you using when it comes to security and safety?
It's off. Can we get a mic? He's working it up.
Is there also?
Yeah, no,
Oh,
we
this
can
is okay.
Yeah.
So, let me start with Lungelo.
Yes.
Government reception about AI. Look, the government is in a bit of a pickle because what the world is doing, AI has good benefits and some downside. Okay, the good benefits are that, for example, I was speaking to SARS officials and I said to them, I wanted to pay my dividend tax and I couldn't pay it because I had to hold for an hour and 20 minutes on a call center.
Shucks.
So I said to them, in the 21st century, no one should be able to hold for less than 2 minutes on a phone. AI can take care of the calls, screen them, tell you if you want this, you can do it yourself. If you want this, go to X. If you want this, go where. And only calls that need personal touch go to the call center. The rest are solved by AI. I'll give you an example. SASA announced 350 benefit. 3 million people goes to SASA. Half of them get queues, they don't get help. You could solve that no one goes to SASA unless he has a specific problem. The rest are solved by AI. So you can AI is to address volumes and to reduce queues. So where people are applying AI, there are no queues because people are sorted.
Yeah.
And where people are applying for AI, people don't have to go to branches. So I'm giving you the benefit to the government. So they need to select that there are areas where AI is going to help them improve service and customer experience, or citizen experience, they should do that. In areas where AI is going to impact jobs, they should probably do less implementation because of the situation you are in. But if you are a bank or business running that, you're going to put robotics. We have been putting, I think we've put more than 8 robotic systems inside banks, inside Balo, in the past year. Robotic process automation. This process was done by 50 people, is done by 2 people. Robot does the 48. We save money. We deploy those people in customer facing. SaaS wants to do that. Wants to include robotic, AI, in order to have more of their staff doing auditing. So they have staff today doing queues. They say, help us put AI here and transfer the staff to go and audit the guys who are dishonest. Okay. So you see there, it's clear that we're not firing anybody. We now redeploy resources to audit all these guys who are dishonest. Yeah. So that's an application one. The second one, okay, for churches, I'll answer you maybe later, but for now I'll skip, okay? Yeah. I've answered one for you. So autonomous unmanned ship,
yes.
And how long will it take to arrive here from Sharon?
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to start first with electric cars. Okay. Electric cars are going to dominate in the next 3 years. So you see the streets that we have today? In 3 years' time, electric cars will be here. We have a small few today. But the trend, because of global emission and a pact we are signing all over the world, all countries have signed this pact of reducing emission. That pact is causing countries to start taking decision on part and parcel of reducing emission is to leave the diesel buses, for example, and go to electric buses. Part and parcel of that is to start moving to electric cars. You'll see more small electric cars coming, which are affordable. You don't have to put petrol. You arrive in your house, you plug it in. Tomorrow morning you can do 600 kilometers. The only thing why we're not adopting in South Africa yet is that the distance to travel is still low. It's up to 320. Once you start getting cars coming at 600, 900 per charge, gee, I can go to Durban and Durban with one charge in Durban, come back. The charge to charge is only $60 versus putting petrol for 1,000 rands.
Yeah.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
So in 3 years' time, that's where we're going. If you still buy a petrol car 3 years from now, your problem. So I'm giving you where the future is going to go. Autonomous cars have just been issued a license in San Francisco and some areas to test. They have problems with safety on cars, okay? Because when I checked last time, the Tesla car have just crashed again, one of them, in a dangerous situation. So they've moved the target date for introducing autonomous cars. Now, autonomous ships is easy. If you have a GPS in the ship to go, already most ships run while the crew is sleeping. Because they know where they're going, the direction doesn't change, it's a sea.
Interesting.
And it can detect, like any other car that can detect an object 100 meters, 200 meters away, they can do that. That technology on shipping is easy. It's like autonomous planes. Most planes are autonomous. When they're in a storm, the pilot put in auto mode because he can't see the AI in the plane runs the plane. Okay, so there are a lot of autonomous. So for me, I arrived in South Africa. South Africa, like any other country in the world, once we have electric cars in other places, they will come here soon, and they're here already, because you can buy an electric car today for some manufacturers. Hyundai, one here, it's going to be the first one, small, that you can buy, but they've been hybrid cars so far. Electric cars are coming. Same with autonomy. Autonomous is going to come here. The question of us being ready, it's a question of regulation with time. Once the world is adopting it, we are forced by trends. Okay. So I'm confident that as the world adopts and we see adoption, we will yield to autonomous. Okay. When time arrives. But that autonomous is about 10 years to come. It's not here yet. They're struggling in the US to get it in on cars, and I don't think we'll be here. On ships, easy. On any other thing, on ships, on planes, on other mode of transportation, much more easier. Okay. Sorry about that. So it's a long answer, but that's...
No problem. We just have to final round, that side.
Normally on bandwidth and electricity with children, but make education relevant. What is the ideal curriculum? Now, I'm going to say to you, there is no age that a child can start with tech. You can start kids at a very early age. I've got a friend of mine was asking today, her daughter just started grade 6 or grade R, and they're teaching them coding. Okay. Now, why you teach kids an early age coding? The brain at an early age is a sponge. You actually learn faster. You learn far more at the age of 5, 6, 7, 8 than you learn at the age of 15. Because your brain just absorbs so much when you're younger. Okay. Now, let me give you the good news. In 2017, IBM introduced a platform for IR where you can learn without paying money, where you can learn freely. And courses for beginners, courses for entrepreneurs, and courses for professionals in the platform for free. The platform helps kids from grade R, help adults, help even the gardeners and people who don't know much about tech. They can learn just to how it works. The security question, how do you train? In that platform, I've got 8 courses that you can learn. You can learn AI from beginner to expert. How you become a beginner, how you become an expert in AI. There are examples, modules, videos. We teach you by digital education. Videos, class lessons, all in your AI at your own pace. We can teach you development. The heart of everything is development. How to code. We can teach you how to code. You can start coding and doing your own programs, and even start doing something that is billable that people can buy from the Apple shop if you do very good. Okay. Coding. We can teach you blockchain. How to do blockchain. From beginning to expert. We can teach you quantum computing. If you want to go, you want to rob people in, as I told you that, you can do some fancy stuff, we can teach you that. Yeah? Quantum computing, which is, we're doing we're trying to introduce that to SARS, because scenario planning requires quantum computing capacity. You can do data science. You can do analytics. You can do cybersecurity. So the curriculum is vast. You can do design thinking. How to set it all up. Those are the curricula. And the website is www.digitalnationafrica, one word.com.
We will have that on the Economites website.
Okay. You click that website, you enroll, they give you an ID, you log on, it's a cloud application, so maybe many of you don't know. IBM ran the WhatsApp site. We ran this WhatsApp site. I think we're still running it for Facebook in IBM Cloud. So when you log on in the site, we ran WhatsApp so we use the same site to run this data education. You log on anywhere in the world, but it's restricted for Africa. For Africa, it's for free. You log on to this site, you can do the course, it can take you 3 months, it can take you 2 weeks, it can take you 6 weeks. There are different course ranges depending on the complexity. When you finish those courses, you get a badge. If you go to Standard Bank with that badge, they'll hire you. If you go to Citibank in UK with that badge, they'll hire you. If you go to New Zealand or anywhere, you can be employed anywhere with that badge. Because we can't follow what is called this, the SAQA. If I was to follow SAQA, I'll be certified in 2022 when there's a new versions and the certification is no longer useful. So we decided to issue our own badges because we can't wait for SAQA.
And then was Andy's question about, before we go to that side, the 4IR, how is it bridging the socioeconomic gap?
4IR is a game changer. A kid in Kenya can build a program, put it in the web, and be bought by people all over the world. A kid in Soweto can build a program and earn money while at school because people are buying his product. Now, that's a mindset we need to have. I want my kids to be developers. I want them to be able to build. They connect the fridge to the computer, connect the stuff in the house, switch them off when they go, do that on themselves. They don't need a technician. There's IoT, Internet of Things, in this curriculum that allows you to connect, to do drones yourself. You don't have to go to school. Every day you read a module, it gets you somewhere. By the time you finish, you can program yourself. You see your own product. When you go to interviews, you don't say, I did. You say, let me show you. I log on, I show you what I've built. They hire you on the strength of what you build. You actually don't, you go into the interview, all you need is your laptop. And when they ask you questions, you say to them, I'm a programmer. So what have you done? I'll show you the programs I've built. Here are they. You log on, you show them. Can I get Wi-Fi? I've got Wi-Fi. Good. We go. So you interview you, easy. That's it. That's a game changer. A 4IR is changing the way things go and work. And the pace.
Okay. Hello? Can you hear me? Oh, that's so weird. Sorry. Hi, my name is Khalid Dume, and I work at Nedbank in the private equity space. And I guess my question is more around mentorship, because from my understanding and from your talk, we can understand that mentorship has played a significant role in your success. And I just wanted to understand, what initiatives are you guys ensuring that you put in place to ensure that you continue to mentor young people? Because you did mention that millennials are so quick and eager to leave, but from my experience, I've actually realized that it has to do with the lack of growth prospects in the business, as well as good mentorship. So what exactly do you think can be done around that? And then I think from her question was just around a question about challenges. What are your biggest challenges in the country? Sorry,
Yeah, I've been asked that. I'll answer that.
Yes, she wants the answer. Perfect. Thanks.
Hi everyone. My name is Tulani. I work for the ANC. I'm joking. But I'm an accountant for Tebe Investment, which is owned by the ANC, so it's not a secret. 2 questions. You spoke about taxes, and the Minister of Finance today presented, I don't know, in Parliament, but he says he failed to collect most taxes from the taxi industry. I'm in a taxi business, but I'm a non-violent taxi owner. So, and I want to contribute to the fiscus. I am not evading tax, but seemingly the government has failed to actually collect taxes from the taxi industry. So I would like to know from you, how do you think SARS can solve taxing cash? Because we want to declare, but the problem is that cash just passes through many hands, and we don't have accounting systems to actually, And then the second question is that the taxi industry itself, you're speaking about fourth industrial revolution and all that. And it's a business that is close to my heart because at least all of us here have used taxis before, we could be able to drive. So what technological improvement can your company or people like yourself actually advise, or bring forth to the industry? Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Chris. So I'm an executive financial planner. I specialize in net worth creation. So basically I do have employees also below me that I help out, and all of us do everything in the insurance space as well, but mostly investments and so forth. So based on my question, this is in the financial space of, as you're in the financial world. So as we're in a period of doping, what we call it, our country is currently where Mr. Cyril actually invested about 600 billion into the country, where our country is actually, our country is actually at a stage called doping. And what's normally happening is that when we see the rand to dollar, when we see our rand increasing, when we see all of these things happening, the question that I have is, in your opinion, in the financial world, when we start to see, for example, the taxes going up, for example, the petrol prices being as high as it is now, when did you realize that, you know, the financial market will take a bit of a dip, a bit of a swing? And also, when would you say, you know, it will recuperate in the next, let's say, few months or let's say a few years, based on when the swing is over and the economy takes a knock away, when basically the president paid back the 600 billion from the IMF fund? So that's my question.
And then the last one.
Good evening. My name is Nelly Siwe Mlangeni, and I'm a robotics automation engineer at DigiBlue. I'm quite passionate about 4IR and technology. I'm fascinated by the idea of creating virtual workers that can complete tasks that would otherwise take an individual 10 minutes, and we can create a virtual worker that can complete that in a few seconds. So my question would be, what would it take for a young, ambitious, and driven individual like me to get a job at IBM? So what I'm basically asking is, can I forward you my CV?
I think it was
To me, yes.
So, Khale, let me say the following. I think because I'm a product of mentorship is very close to my heart. And it was in the year 97 when I was on assignment, when I realized that actually mentorship is an old thing. And I realized that actually God took Moses to Pharaoh's palace to learn, and only to take him out 40 years later to be able to negotiate exit of the children of Israel. So mentorship is not new. David, when he was helping Saul in the palace, God was exposing him to a job he'll be doing because he didn't want to come to a king and doesn't know how palace look like. So mentorship is old, and where I take you in and you work and I mentor you to do what you need to do. Now, mentorship is important to develop leadership. And I'm a product of mentorship. When I was an engineer, when I was a young leader, when I was an executive, I have always been helped. And I've decided to help. So my Fridays are open to mentoring a lot of people. And when I ran my own company, I mentored entrepreneurs every Friday. How a business model work, their business model, people don't even know how the business model is. There's a business model that makes you a lot of money, and I used to use a simple example. When you run a business, you can have a donkey. A donkey will take 3 months to get to Cape Town. You can have a horse. It will take maybe 3 weeks to get to Cape Town. You can have a car. It will take 12 hours. You can have an aeroplane. It will take you 2 hours. All those are business models. So there are business models where a guy is on a donkey, goes to work, sells, bring back, makes so little. There are business models where a guy goes and sells, makes a little bit more. Now, I'm talking about this because in business, you need to understand what kind of business you want to make, what kind of margins you want to make. What makes a business model? Margins. Margins means I sell this, I work for a company that makes, let's say they make 60% margin on anything they sell. But my company that I ran, Cornerstone, make 30% margin, or sometimes 20. Because I did not have the power to invent and engineer and produce IP. So I've got someone's IP, add service on top, sell it, and make 30%. I work for IBM. They produce their own IP. They sell it to you for 90% margin. So they make so much money that's unreal. Then I work for a South African company. It makes 40%. Banks makes 40% or 35% margin on the money you've given them. So what makes a business is margins. Now those things I learned when you do mentoring of business people, mentoring of people, personal mastery. Master yourself, your strengths and your weaknesses. If you can do that and perfect your weaknesses with time, you can be a great leader. So personal mastery is a great thing. So I do mentorship, but I ask most people as you succeed and you get the formula for success, mentor others to tell them how you got where you got to. So you don't have to be a rich guy to mentor. You can be just an excellent individual in what you do, and you can start mentoring people. Because you figure out the art of executing, of doing, and you have the know-how of things are done. Once you have the know-how, mentor others. So it's a responsibility for all of us. It's not for a few. I mentored my son when he was young, and now when he turned 13, I start saying to him, here are the top stock exchange, where are the shares that I want to stock exchange? You trace them. You give me the results every Saturday. We're going to have coffee. You tell me what happened. He was 13. Today, he's a derivative and hedge fund specialist. He picked the profession. He did what he wanted to do. I didn't stay him there, but because he was on this thing from the age of 13, he became what he became. So mentoring doesn't start outside; it starts in your household. Okay.
And then the taxi industry. The taxi question by
that Tulani
yes.
taxis, yeah. So Tulani, I've got I think you're asking very good question, and this is Marin Papanfus is the executive at SARS, SARS strategy, and we've met a lot of times on how to collect from, for example, guys who bring a gin here from whatever and sell it. And you've got a guy who bring the gin officially, pay customs duty, and sell it at 600 rands. Okay. How does a guy can bring a deal here and still sell it at 100 rands? And that starts from customs. The import-export business that's violate the customs rules. We're solving that. We're introducing blockchain. Hopefully, it will go live in 2024-25. When a ship leaves China, everything is on a blockchain system. What does it mean? SARS is told, Reserve Bank is told, the importer is told, everybody's there in the same loop. Yep. When the ship arrives, so it leaves China. So SARS get ready. They wait for 3 weeks or 4 weeks to come. When it lands at the port, transfer is told when it leaves. So transfer is ready. The customs declaration can be no longer changed. It's fixed from China. You can arrive here, you bought this thing, you say, oh, this container, sorry, Menier, this is only about 50,000 when you have 2 million in it. Those things are going. We fix the load from China. We fix the load from the US. When he arrives here, we know exactly what's in. So we declare the right custom excise. Guess what we'll do? Revenue for the country goes this way. Because there's no more illicit goods. Okay. We're closing that loop. We're working on a solution that will close that loop. Okay. So that's one. We're coming down to the taxes for taxis. We've been battling to do this just as the traders, because the government introduced some a program for taxis a few years ago to turn your taxi and get a government-sponsored. The taxi industry didn't take that. Okay. Now, because when you take the new taxi, they want to take your ID, your details, your bank account, and now say, thank you very much, go and trade. Now we've got your details. That couldn't happen, and that failed. But Uber arrived for IR. And the taxi industry, with this Uber staff going, with time, the city guys, it crippled them. The township people can't cripple because the taxi industry is different. But Uber already has shaken the way people do transportation. There are people who are not buying cars anymore because there's no need. I've got a guy who works for me who earns a lot of money, but I say, why? He says, I don't need a car. I'm using Uber. So he commutes every day with Uber. He doesn't want a car anymore. He says, I need to get a license. I've got to get this. I don't want those things. I've got to queue every year to go and do this. I'm not doing that. So he sold his car. He does own Uber. But he lives about less than 5 kilometers from the office. So Uber is 25 rands for him. So it's not a big cost. So he's seen significant cost of his car, depreciation, all those out of his way. So he just Uber. Now, we will change the transport industry with time. I really do not have enough time to talk about the art of the possible on the taxi industry. But there is, okay, in terms of technology, okay, route management, efficiencies in terms of knowing where your clients are. They can actually tell you which corners, so you don't have to pass traffic lights without stopping. You can safely go and pick up your clients where he told you where he is. There is possibility for you to do that, okay? Rather than to drive before they are there, to drive when they are there, and how many will be there. And it will tell you you've got 4 or 5 people to pick up ahead. You can do those kind of things, okay? So, but I don't have time to do, I'm a solution guy. I solve problems. So there is no problem we can't solve with technology, except medical issues, so I can't do those. But everything is tech. I've got 31 years experience doing this stuff. So we know what can be solved and what you can achieve. Okay.
Thank you.
So, financial markets.
Yes.
Chris, you know, I'm not an economist, but I can give you a little bit of a precise thing about. So, here's where we are. The GDP information is going to be released on the first week or second week of June. Okay. When that is released and it's powering ahead compared to last year, will be the biggest quarter improvement because this last year between April or between actually January and March, we were starting to shut down. Okay. It's not going to be a biggest gain. The biggest gain is the one between April, June, which is going to be released in September. Now, GDP is going to be released on the second week of June. It's going to be good. And when it's good, the rand is already past 14 today. Okay? And it's past 14 because, as I told you, we collected 158 billion more than we expected, and we spent 16 billion less. So already those factors, the imports are smaller, the exports are bigger. So already the balance formula is good. The government has actually, everybody was saying, debt collapse. They've proved us wrong. SARS went and collect more. Government spend less. Yeah, if you're a government employee here, you're going to kill me because you didn't get an increase. Tito defaulted on you. Okay. And that's good news to a South African citizen because suddenly the rand was going to go pear shape, it's going good shape. So, economics, okay? So we're good. US is pumping. The growth rates there, the US tech companies have, you've never seen such growth. Actually, COVID has made them grow in steroids. They've grown significantly. I was watching Google profits. They've made $18 billion in one quarter. Profit, not revenue. That's like Standard Bank revenue multiplied by 10 in profit. That's big numbers. A Facebook the same. So when you have that kind of growth in the US and the world is recovering, most of this year you'll get growth. Stock market, everything growth. Then when you get this excessive growth, you get inflationary issues come the last part of the year. And then when you start getting inflation, the US Treasury starts saying we're going to raise interest rates. When they raise interest rates, today money is flying out of US. Once they raise interest rates, money comes back to the US. So you've got a little bit of stabilization of growth rates. So frankly speaking, I think if you are a forecaster, this year is all good. Yes. If you are a South African pensioner, you got a beating last year. This year, your pensions are performing phenomenally. Excellent. So this year is all good news for people who have money in the game. But if you have no pension, no house, no asset, it's all loose. So the people that are skin in the game, this is one of the greatest year we have. Okay. Everywhere. You know, you put an asset here, you look, I get a statement, assets improvement. Asset improvements everywhere. Yeah. So that's this year if you are an investor. Yeah. It's great news for everybody everywhere. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. No.
Thank you.
Thank you. Fantastic analysis. I'm not sure of the last question there. Maybe that can be had.
The last question is very simple.
It's very simple.
For Nelisiwe, for you, we always hiring. So we can talk.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, guys. I know you're a football fan, sir. Last thing for me, Ronaldo or Messi?
You can't choose. And the reason you can't choose is because they are both exceptional. There's very little between them, okay? And I say there's very little between them because they are all at the top of their game and they all excel. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Round of applause for Mr. Ratshefola.